Trying to get out of a career rut is one of the hardest things to do. And it happens randomly, it happens to everybody, regardless if they're just starting out or they've been working for a while. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about how to get out of a career rut. I'm Mike from Michael's Business English. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Michael Rincon. I am a former six-figure data analyst who has turned into an ESL instructor and career coach. I support non-native English speakers improve their communication skills and career development. If you're new here on this channel, we cover business English, communication, and career development. So if that's something you're into, make sure you like and subscribe. And all the links mentioned in this video can be found in the description box below. So I guess the first question we should probably ask is, like, how do you even know if you're in a career rut? Like, what are the signs? Because you may not even be aware that you're in a career rut. And so how I define career rut and how I think a lot of people think about it is, if you're just not happy, like if you feel bad, if you're not feeling excited, if you don't get up in the morning thinking like this is amazing, there's something off. And this is important because you spend a good portion of your time working. You spend a good portion of your life working, for the vast majority of us, right? So if you have a full-time job, like a typical 9-to-5 job, corporate, you're probably going to spend more than half your week just working. Like, it's only 40 hours a week, but it's still quite a bit of time when you think about like how many hours you spend a day at work, and then how many hours a day you spend sleeping. So my opinion is that the simplest way to think about it is, like, if you're just not happy at work, you're just not inspired, that's when you know you're in a career rut. Another thing to keep a lookout for is, do you feel an aspiration to do anything more, right? So at some point in my career, like, I was in pretty bad dead-end jobs, but I knew what I wanted. I knew what to go for. I had this end goal of becoming a data analyst, and that's what drove me to get up and go to work and go all in and put all my effort in, because I had this end goal, is knowing what I was aspiring to. And what I found is a lot of people who are in a career rut, they're like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, should I do this? Should I do that? They're kind of like, they're stuck, they're lost. Should I try it? Should I not try it? And I think that's something that's important to explore. So now that we've talked about the different symptoms that you might be experiencing if you're in a career rut, let's talk about how to get out of it. Right, so the big thing, I think, by far, the first thing I would suggest is really looking at your end goals. If you're not growing, you're dying. I don't remember who said that. I don't remember where it came from, but I think that seems to be consistent. In fact, in the book Indistractable, what Nir Eyal found was that we are biologically wired for discontent in life, because if we as humans felt constant pleasure and satisfaction, we wouldn't feel the need to grow. We wouldn't feel the need to aspire for more things, which is why it's normal for us to feel discontent. The other thing I would suggest is that if things you're aspiring to don't excite you, that might be something that's worth investigating. It might be something about your goal that's just not attractive. And I'll tell you what happened to me was that at some point in my career, I hit the six-figure level, and I was really happy about that. Right? And then after that, it was kind of like, what do I do now? Because I was making $47 an hour, 96K. I was like $4,000 away from from 100K. I didn't care. I kept making more money. I kept doing it, but I realized that, like, I knew this is the day I knew that there was something wrong, which is that I got approached for $60 an hour, which is pretty good, right? That's a little bit more money. I got approached for 70 and 80 at some other times as well, but it would only excite me for a few minutes. And that's something I want you to think about, that like, if something's only exciting for a few minutes, it doesn't like fill you with joy for a long period of time, that's a good sign that the goal that you have is not really a good goal for you. And so what I figured out for me was, like, even though I could aspire for more money, I can go get $60, $70, $80 an hour and then some, and then break 200K maybe. I realized that's not what I wanted to do, especially not the way I was doing it, because as it were, I was already working overtime. I was already unable to take vacation. I went to California to go see Tony Robbins and Roger Love and go to their seminars, and I had to take my computer with me in order to keep up with the work. So I realized then that maybe working full time is not really ideal for me. And so what I did then is that this is what I suggest you do as well. So if you find that the goals that you have set up for you are not exciting, then you need to explore new goals, new career aspirations. And so I found a few different things. The first thing I figured out is that I don't want to work full time, which is kind of weird because if you look at my business, I work more than 40 hours a week, right? Like you think about how long it takes to record these videos, coming up with topic ideas, doing content for LinkedIn, doing the actual coaching, and the operation side. Like a lot of the stuff as a solopreneur, I do a lot of it. I probably work more than 40 hours a week on average. But that being said, I enjoy it. It's a different feeling than the feeling I had when I worked for someone else. And that's something that I figured out for me. That may not be the thing for you. It may be that you don't need to have your own lifestyle. You don't need to have your own business. But for me, that was changed me. That's what I figured out for me, was that the aspirations had changed and my desires had changed. So I highly, highly recommend you look at your goal, you revisit what you're aspiring to achieve, and if it excites you or not. Because if it doesn't excite you, then you got a bigger problem. And so the other thing I did before I figured out I wanted to be a solopreneur, by the way, there was a few other things that happened. So I actually started going through like life coaching, getting help with that. So I actually found a guy named David Tian, found him online and started going through his content. Eventually I went to one of his seminars, and he has a guided meditation. That's life coaching, right? So he calls it the meaning of your life, right? And it's a really cool guided meditation. It's an exercise, it's NLP, and you go through this. And I found that the meaning of my life, the purpose of my life, was to do great work, to have entertainment, and to be creative for myself and for others. And it was very simple. It really surprised you. Like, I don't really have huge aspirations, right? And so I figured out, it's like, I don't really need to go and become like an executive. I don't really need to go and make more money than I'm making now. I really don't need a lot of money. Living in Taiwan right now, like the apartments start at $500 a month rent. It is a big apartment. You can get away with a lot. So, my quality of life is still really good despite the cost of living being low, much lower than in the US. So what I did after that was I also explored what options do I have for careers, and that's how I discovered teaching, right? I discovered teaching English. You can go overseas, work part-time, and along the way I'm like, well, if I'm going to go teach English, why don't I teach online? And if I'm going to teach online, why don't I just start my own business and charge more money and work less hours, right? So that's how it happened to me, and I think that's what you need to do. Is you need to go through an exploratory phase. So stop whatever you're doing right now. If you're like applying for jobs, and stop it immediately. Go back to step one, which was do the research, do the mindset stuff, go through and figure out your goals. Because if your goal is not exciting to you, it won't matter like if you accomplish it, because you will not be, the reason you're in a career rut is because you're not aspiring to do more. You're not excited by it. That's the number one thing. You don't have a purpose behind it. In fact, there's another book, I haven't gone through a recommendation for it yet, but it's a book called Primed to Perform, which is all about motivation. It's specifically about corporate culture, but it talks about the 6 different types of motivation that they found. And the 2 big things that come out, or that play, is the top motivation. Like if you enjoy what you do, you will be ultimately motivated. Like you think about video games. Like I am not motivated to play video games. I just play. I just have no need for motivation to play video games. I have no need for motivation to watch Batman or watch Marvel movies. Right. The second one comes to purpose, and it's like this is your reason that you're driven to do something. It's like something inspires you. Something is like, I have a reason to do this. If you can get these motivations, there's a few of them in total, but the more you can get aligned, the less likely you'll be in a career rut. And so what I think for you, the ultimate way to get out of a career rut is to go back to your goal and revisit it. Now there's one final thing I should add here before I end off this video, is like, what do you do if you're in a career rut and you're like, you don't know what to do? And the career rut might be something not like a goal related thing, but it may just be like you have no energy at work. Right? And so it may be that you're in a career rut in the sense that like you're stuck in your job. I highly recommend unplugging. right? So like if you're stressed at your job, things aren't working out, you're being killed by your job, you're working too much, and you don't have a goal, you don't have something that aspire to, then I would highly suggest you just take a break. Which that might be easier said than done. You may not have the ability to go quit your job and teach English like I did, but I highly recommend that's what you do. And let me give you a little backstory about what happened to me. Along the way to my 6 figures, I ended up in the hospital a couple of times due to atrial fibrillation. I had a problem with my heart. Part of that was because of my health, because I wasn't taking care of myself, but part of that was because I was working too hard. I was stressed out. I kept stressing myself out. In fact, I remember at the highest point of my career, I had spoken to a coach, and he said he had noticed that I had said the word fired 17 times in 10 minutes. So I'm trying to give you some like ideas to jolt your memory, to jolt your thinking, so you can think, how do I get out of this career? What's going on? It's just very likely that the job itself doesn't excite you. You know what I mean? Like, it's very likely that you're in the wrong job. And if you're aware of that, that's okay. Maybe it's like teaching English, for example. That's what I do right now. It is not a dream job in the sense that, like, if you teach English, you're gonna make millions of dollars, But it is a good job in the sense for all the benefits it provides. I'm very happy I became an English teacher. Very satisfied, or maybe not satisfied, but content with the lifestyle that I have now, that I am able to have because I teach part-time as a teacher, which I couldn't do as a full-time analyst. So there you go. I think this was a good video. So to summarize what I've talked about, the 2 main reasons you are in a career rut is because 1, you don't have a goal that inspires you, and 2, you don't have something that you enjoy, right? So if you're doing work that doesn't excite you or you're not filled by it, then you're going to be lacking energy. So again, the number 1 thing for you is to find something that you aspire to. That's the key element here. Okay, so let me know in the comments what questions you have, or if you're still in a career, let me know what you're feeling. Feel free to shoot me a DM on LinkedIn. That's where I'm most active right now. And let me think what else. No, I think that's it. I think just the main premise here is just you got to try do things out and test things out. I was thinking about adding in a quick element about going all in effort. In fact, I'll refer to Indistractable again from near Ariel, because he does reference a section about how you can have fun in the most mundane tasks, but I'll have to look at that and do another video. But once I get that, I'll go back through research it and tell you some more about it. In fact, I'll link the book recommendation to this video so I don't forget. But no, I think the number 1 thing that I think for most of you is going to be look for a bigger goal. Look for something like a big, hairy, audacious goal. It's going to excite you. Okay, so thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Talk soon.